Hello everyone, this is part 14 of What If Naruto Was Betrayed and Turns Evil, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Land of Lightning. Madara stood in front of Naruto and Ribi, all of them in a heated staring contest. Madara was starting to get excited. He knew that this boy was different than the others. He could fight. He could fight really good. Madara just had the feeling. Before we start, I have a question, said Madara. Why do you have tails? He asked curiously. When I was 6, Kurama-chan, or the QB to you, turned me into a half-demon while I was unconscious from the beating I was receiving. I was her Jinchuriki, and was hated for it. My family didn't want me, my village hated me, and the only person I could trust was Kurama. She gave me these tails before the Chunin exam finals started, saying that I was worthy of them. Explained Naruto. Oh, the QB, a girl. I never knew. And you were her mate. That isn't something you hear every day, said Madara said as he rubbed his chin. He stopped and gained a serious look on his face. No matter. We are here to fight. You will die if you don't take me seriously. You are fighting a shinobi that can hold his own against Hashirama Senju, so don't underestimate me. I'm glad that you have such faith that I am strong, which I am. But I don't have time to hear your compliments, for I have heard that you enslaved Kurama-chan in the past before. You will receive your punishment by me personally, said Naruto as he and Ribi readied themselves. Good, said Madara as he smirked. You have the first move. Instantly, Naruto appeared in front of Madara with his fist raised. Madara blocked it and sent his own punch, but was caught by Naruto's tails. Naruto slapped Madara with his tails, blasting him sideways. Ribi came from the ground and wrapped itself around Madara, trapping him. Ah, so the leech can drain chakra. And at a fast rate, I must say, said Madara as he felt his chakra levels deplete quickly. He substituted himself with a close-by boulder, saving the rest of his chakra. He felt his chakra grow back until it was at its full capacity. You know, I really do like this body, said Madara as he looked down at his hand. Do you want to see what I can do with it? He asked as he started to run through hand signs. Kaiten, Great Fire Annihilation. He shouted as a massive fireball that flooded the area rushed towards Naruto. The heat of the flames was intense, and Naruto had to dodge the attack to avoid being burned to death. Ribi, shouted Naruto. The leech quickly approached to Naruto, slithering to him like a snake, and wrapped around Naruto. Dome of Dark Thoughts, muttered Ribi as a black dome took over Ribi and Naruto. The flames took over the dome, engulfing it in a sea of flames. A barrier, said Madara as he watched his flames. A barrier shouldn't be able to stop his attack. It was too strong and hot for anything to survive. When the flames died down, Madara was surprised to see the dome still intact, as if nothing hit it in the first place. Impressive, said Madara as he clapped his hands. You are one of the first to be able to successfully block that attack. You truly are worthy of fighting me, complimented Madara. After a while of waiting, Madara started to get mad. Why aren't you coming out? Too scared to face me, shouted Madara at the dome. Madara's eyes widened when he felt a presence behind him. He jumped out the way just in time to dodge one of Ribi's attempts of wrapping himself around the Uchiha. While in the air, Naruto appeared behind Madara and kicked him towards the ground, right on top of the black dome. Instead of hitting it, the black dome opened up, taking Madara inside, and closed right back up. Dark encasement, muttered Ribi. The dome started to get smaller and smaller, planning on squishing Madara to death. The dome was destroyed as Madara jumped through it, his Susanu's rib cage around his body. Kaiten, Dragon Flame Release Song Technique. He shouted and made a large number of dragon head-shaped fireballs and sent them towards Naruto. Kaiten, Kitsune Bombs, said Naruto as he made fireballs with fox heads and sent them towards Madara. The individual fireballs hit each other, cancelling each other out. Many explosions surrounded the area and black smoke flooded around the two Kaiten users. Stay close, Ribi, said Naruto. The leech made its way towards Naruto, ready to fight. It was silent for a second, but Naruto quickly put on his claws and blocked the slash attempt Madara made with a kunai behind him. Ribi made some shadow arms that headed towards Madara, but Madara's incomplete Susanoo cut through them with a sword. Mokuton, wood dragon technique, said Madara as he created a wood dragon that shot towards Naruto. Wood, thought Naruto as he dodged the wooden dragon. He ran up to Madara with his claws poised to Madara, ready to claw through his body. Madara dodged left and right all of Naruto's slashes, but was slammed down to the ground when Naruto's tail circled over him and bashed into Madara. Kaiten, fox fire, shouted Naruto as he sent down a massive fox head-shaped fireball down towards the dead Uchiha. Fire consumed the ground and the temperatures seared. Naruto cut off his technique and floated up in the air, looking down at the damage he caused. Black smoke covered the area, and Naruto was pretty sure that his fire had to hit Madara. Mokuton, advent of a world of flowering trees, shouted a familiar voice. Madara jumped up on one of the rock formations and planted his hands on the ground. Large trees started to come from the ground, stretching themselves all around the rocky terrain. This is new, said Naruto as he looked down at the ground, now thinking he was in a forest. I've had Hashirama's cells injected in me, giving me the ability to use Mokuton. You'll see how usefully it is against Biju, and since you are like a Biju, you will experience my power, said Madara. Pollen started to invade the air. Naruto looked at the pollen curiously, before covering himself in a protective layer of yokai. This pollen is harmful, I know it. I just won't find out the hard way, said Naruto. Ribi, underground. Ribi nodded and burrowed underground, away from the harmful pollen. Just you and me now, said Madara, his Sharingan flashing. This changes nothing. I will win, said Naruto as he blasted towards Madara. Fox slash. He yelled and coated his arm in dense yokai. Naruto's claws made contact with the ribcage of Madara's ribcage. Madara's eyes widened when he saw that the ribs started to gain cracks. Amaterasu, shouted Madara, flashing his Sharingan towards Naruto. Naruto was ready as black flames encased him. Haha, you can't avoid this technique. The everlasting flames of the Amaterasu, shouted a proud Madara. His smirk fell when he saw Naruto break out of his yokai shield that took the black flames, and then made another one to cover himself again. A strong move that can be avoided by the simplest of terms, mocked Naruto as he looked down at Madara. Madara gritted his teeth and covered himself in his Susanoo. He jumped up at Naruto, and Naruto dodged all of Madara's attempts of injuring him. Stand still, shouted Madara as he slashed at Naruto with the sword his Susanoo held. Naruto was too quick for him, and was dodging all of the slash by flying around Madara. Finding an opening, Naruto whistled, confusing Madara. Ribi erupted from the ground beneath Madara, surprising the man. Leech drain, said Ribi as he flew right through Madara's Susanoo. He absorbed all of the chakra it could before landing back on the ground and burrowing down into the earth. TCH, sneaky bastard, said Madara as he repaired his Susanoo. It seems that the leech could go through his armor with any negative effects, and devour any chakra it touches. You think that you can defeat me with such tactics? Such a shame. Kaiten, great fire annihilation, shouted Madara and created a massive fireball. Kaiten, fox fire, shouted Naruto as he countered with his own signature fireball. The flames of opposing sides meet and created a huge explosion. Naruto and Madara kept sending flames to each other, wanting to overpower the other. Madara secretly made a clone that ran around the sea of flames and jumped up to Naruto. Mokuton, great forest technique. It said as wood covered his arm, making it look like a wooden lance. It stabbed at Naruto, and Naruto moved just in time from being impaled. The lance did slash at Naruto's side, giving him a cut. Damn Uchiha, said Naruto as he sent yokai down to his injury. He was about to move down to Madara, but hissed in pain as his side hurt. He looked down at his side and his eyes widened. The cut wasn't healing. You see now, shouted Madara, catching Naruto's attention. Mokuton is a Biju's worst enemy. I know about how you can recover quickly, it was the same for Mito Azumake Hashirama's wife, but I know that Mokuton can injure you Biju and you won't heal through it. Damn it, said Naruto as he put his hand on his side. The really did hurt, like salt was in the wound. If this was how Mokuton was used against Biju, he was going to make sure he didn't get hit anymore. You're thinking of a plan. I won't let you have any time to plan, shouted Madara as he pointed his palm towards Naruto. Suddenly, branches from all the trees were made and headed towards Naruto, ready to pierce him. "Gah! Trees," said Naruto as he weaved his way through the mass of sharp tree branches. He never knew the Mokuton had such an ability. Being able to permanently injure a Biju. No wonder that the first could control all the Biju when he was still alive. "Kaiten, Hellfire missiles!" shouted Naruto as fire surrounded both of his hands. Blazing missiles came from him and shot at the incoming branches that were harmful to Naruto. Naruto was flying all through forest, destroying anything that came his way. Madara was watching the scene of Naruto blasting the trees, and smirked when he felt a presence behind him. He turned around and threw kunai at Ribi, who planned to get Madara with his guard down. Ribi moved out the way and shot his shadow arms towards Madara, who slashed them all with his Susanoo. The Ribi was surprisingly fast, which angered Madara, as he couldn't hit the leech. Susanoo cocked back one of its fist and punched at Ribi. Ribi made another shadow arm, only this one was larger than the others, and countered Susanoo's punch. "Revival, fist," muttered Ribi as he clashed with Madara. Madara sent flames towards Ribi, but was shot down as Naruto sent some of his fire missile towards Madara, completely defending Ribi. Naruto landed in front of Madara and pointed his palm at Madara. "Kaiten, Hellfire missiles," said Naruto as he shot missile close range towards Madara. Madara grunted as he withstood the powerful attacks. The Susanoo was actually getting pushed back by the force of each missile, taking them all head-on. "Leech drain," said Ribi as he appeared behind the Susanoo and tackled inside it, absorbing any chakra it touched. Madara jumped in the air as branches surrounded Naruto and Ribi, ready to pierce them both. "Die!" shouted Madara, ready to end the battle. "Fuyuten, uncontrollable wind blast," shouted Naruto as a veil of wind surrounded him and Ribi, protecting them from the harmful branches. The wood was broken down as it came in contact with the wind shield, wind blades slashing them down into small pieces of wood. The wind shield started to glow, until it exploded in every direction, destroying everything. Madara watched the incoming blast and strengthened up his Susanoo, protecting him from the deadly wind. When the smoke cleared, Madara saw Naruto and Ribi in a field of dirt and pieces of wood. The whole forest that Madara made earlier was totally destroyed, nothing being able to survive the attack. "Such strength," said Madara as he looked around in awe. It took an impressive amount of power to destroy the forest of chakra-enhanced trees. And for this boy to do this. "I've been taking you lightly, which is my mistake," said Madara. "Now, you shall see my real power," he shouted as his Susanoo started to grow and grow. It gained more arms, and wings appeared on its back. Naruto looked up at the massive warrior-like Susanoo that towered over him. "Do you see my power?" shouted Madara down towards Naruto. "This perfect Susanoo can rival the Biju in power. What can you do against it?" "Ribi, get ready," said Naruto as he pointed his arm out at the leech. Ribi nodded and moved towards Naruto. Ribi's skin touched Naruto's arm and it started to enter inside him. Naruto's arm was now attached to Ribi's body, and Naruto was emitting an enormous amount of yokai. "Leech, merge," muttered Ribi as black chakra surrounded it and Naruto. Red and black started to mix together around the two, and then was absorbed all by Ribi. Ribi started to grow and grow, his mask cracking in two. Two large red ringed eyes appeared where the mask used to be, and a slit appeared beneath them. The slit opened up to show large, jagged, white teeth and a long black tongue inside Ribi's newly revealed mouth. Ribi grew about half the size of Madara's perfect Susanoo, but was emitting a strong black chakra. The red eyes and wide, sharp teeth made it look like Ribi was some crazy monster in a cartoon. A very deadly cartoon. "Complete, Naruto-sama," said Ribi, no longer pausing in between his words. "Good," said Naruto as he jumped on top of Ribi's head and took off his black hoodie, wrapping the sleeves around his waist. He took a deep breath and ran through hand signs. "Body revival technique," muttered Naruto as he took in some of Ribi's dark chakra. Naruto's eyes widened and he gasped as his chakra skyrocketed. His muscle bulged out and his tails grew in size, almost 3 times as large as their original size. Naruto's eyes started to grow darker and darker, until his crimson eyes were overtaken by darkness. Naruto gained a wild smirk on his face, now in his enhanced form of his wicked mode. Madara looked at Naruto as saw the bulging veins in Naruto's arms and fear almost creeped in his heart. This boy was much more than he thought he was. To be able to do something like this. This was a first time for Madara. Naruto took a deep breath and his bulging muscles retreated back into his body, but was just as strong. Naruto's black eyes looked up to see Wicked beside him with a crazy smirk on his face. Time to go crazy, said Wicked. Agreed, shouted a now battle insane Naruto as he and his overpowered leech rushed towards Madara. Order of Land of Frost and Land of Lightning. Sasuke dodged one of Orochimaru's attempts of poisoning him with one of his snakes that was shooting from his sleeve. Sakura came beside Orochimaru to punch him away, but he dodged to the side and jumped away from the dangerous couple. Ah, you two really have gotten stronger. I am confident to say that you two are at my level, and you may be named Konoha's next Sannin, said Orochimaru as he looked down at the two. Thanks for the praise, but we have to send you back down to hell, said Sakura, pulling on her gloves. Oh, why must you do that? I mean, it seems to me that you won't be able to, for I am finally immortal. You can't kill what it already dead, laughed out Orochimaru. Can't kill what can't be killed, huh? Does that mean that you aren't really immortal? Said Sasuke, a small smile on his face. What did you say, boy? Growled out Orochimaru, getting angry at Sasuke's accusation. I mean, for one to be immortal, you must find it while being alive. And it seems to me that you aren't immortal, because you're dead. It means that you are a fake. Curse you, boy. I am immortal, shouted Orochimaru as he ran up to Sasuke, his legs fusing together and giving him a snake tail. Orochimaru punched at Sasuke, only for him to move his head to the side, dodging it. Sakura kicked at Orochimaru, but he twisted around her, running through hand signs. Fuyuten, great breakthrough, he shouted as he blasted wind towards the Leaf Chunin. A purple armor covered Sasuke and Sakura, Sasuke's Susanoo protecting them. The demonic figure reared back before launching a punch at the snake man. Orochimaru, using his agility, dodged the punch and circled around the armor. Formation of 1,000 snakes, he shouted as he circled around them. He hacked up snakes that charged towards the two. The snakes covered Susanoo, completely covering it. How weak, said Sasuke as he commanded his Susanoo to chop through the snakes. His eyes widened when he realized that the snakes wrapped themselves around Susanoo's joints, cutting of its movements. I got it, said Sakura as she ran forward, her chakra butchers activated. She ran out the armor and slashed at the snakes, cutting them into small pieces. Wrong enemy, said Orochimaru, appearing behind Sakura, a sword in hand. He stabbed at Sakura's back, ready to pierce through her. Sakura placed her hand behind her, using the flat side of her chakra butchers to block Orochimaru's kill move. She spun around and slashed downwards at Orochimaru, only for him to block with his sword. Bring her other hand down, Sakura made a small cut on Orochimaru's shoulder. Sasuke-kun, she shouted. Sasuke ran through hand signs and took a deep breath. Kaiten, Phoenix Flower Technique, he shouted and sent small fireballs towards Orochimaru. Orochimaru weaved through the mass of fireballs, not allowing one of them to burn him. Doton, Mud River, said Sakura as he changed the ground beneath Orochimaru into mud. Orochimaru struggled to get out of the trap, but it was enough time for Sasuke to make a move. Amaterasu, he said as his M spun. Black flames appeared on Orochimaru, burning him to a crisp. Good, but Orochimaru's mouth opened up wide and another, healthy Orochimaru came out, no dice. Doton, Bedrock Coffin, shouted Sakura. Earth quickly closed around Orochimaru, trapping him inside. I'll hold him down. Are the sealers here yet? Asked Sakura. Yes, we're here now, shouted one of the sealers on the sideline. Good. Sakura was cut off when a hand with a sword came from the ground, stabbing her in her stomach. Sakura, shouted Sasuke as he ran forward. Orochimaru circled around Sakura, taking the blade out of her stomach. He placed it to her neck and held her hostage. Oh, don't look too happy now, Sasuke-kun, said Orochimaru with a chuckle. What are you going to do now? Sakura stomped on the ground, sending chakra into it. Stone spear, she shouted. A rock blasted out the ground beneath Orochimaru, and he jumped away just in time to avoid being impaled. His arm gained a gash mark, but was quickly healed. Oh, good move. I wasn't expecting that, said Orochimaru. There was a large explosion and everyone turned their head to the large mushroom-like cloud that shot in the air. That's where the Biju are, muttered Sakura, but Orochimaru caught what she said. Biju, said Orochimaru as he looked in the direction of the explosion. Sounds fun, he said as he jumped into the ground, disappearing from their sight. Damn it, he's headed that way, shouted Sasuke. He looked over to Zaku, Dosu, and Kun, seeing them cut up some. Do you all need help? He asked. Don't worry about us. We'll go to the medical corps, and then head that a ways. You follow after Orochimaru, Kurama-sama and the others may need some help, said Kin. All right, said Sasuke as he activated his Susanoo and grabbed Sakura. So long, and flew off in the skies. Land of hot water, big ball Rasengan, shouted Jiraiya. He was currently jumping down on Tsunade, a very large Rasengan in his hands. Tsunade dodged out the way, before jumping back at Jiraiya and kicking him. Gotcha! She shouted as she made contact. She was disappointed when Jiraiya puffed into smoke. Haha, not this time, Haim, said Jiraiya as he appeared beside Tsunade. He kicked towards her, which she matched with her own, blocking him. Jiraiya spun around and tried to hit Tsunade with a backhand slap, but she caught his hand and punched him in his stomach, sending him back. Kaiten, big flame bullet, shouted Jiraiya from the air as fire rained down on Tsunade. Before they could make contact with her, a crystal wall appeared in front of her. Thanks, said Tsunade to Gurren, and ran around the wall. She came from the around the wall, only to have a foot in her face, blasting her back. Ha 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 ha, after all the times you've done that to me, I finally get revenge, laughed out Jiraiya. Conan appeared in the air with her paper wings, and sent down sharp paper airplanes down to Jiraiya. Needle Jizo, said Jiraiya as he used his hair to cover himself, molded into hardened spikes. All of the paper airplanes bounced off his armor. You're not making this easier, sensei, said Conan with a frown. Well, it wasn't supposed to be easy. I've taught you better, Conan-chan, shouted Jiraiya to the flying lady. Now, are you all going to take me seriously? We've been doing that from the beginning, shouted Gurren, irritated at Jiraiya's attitude. Well, try harder. Damn guys. I mean girls. He laughed. Stop playing games, shouted Tsunade, jumping back towards Jiraiya. Help us out a little. All right. After I get done using my needle Jizo, I usually use needle hell, said Jiraiya. And what does that do? Asked Gurren. You're about to find out, shouted Jiraiya as he shot needles in all directions from his hair. They all had to dodge out the way, but still getting hit by some of the sharp projectiles. Damn old man, shouted Gurren. She pulled out one of the needles from her skin. That wasn't help at all. Too bad, shouted Jiraiya as he pulled out a kunai with a long line of paper bombs. He threw it towards Tsunade and Gurren, and they jumped away from the overly large blast zone. Now we lost him, said Gurren as she gazed into the dust cloud. Stay on your guard. Jiraiya-sensei always used distractions to his advantage, said Conan, landing on the ground. The three females stood back to back, ready to face Jiraiya. When the smoke cleared, Jiraiya was gone. Kaiten, big flame bullet, shouted Jiraiya from in the air, right over the group, blasting a fire bullet towards them. Shoten, crimson fruit, said Gurren as a crystal dome caught the females from the flames. They all saw Jiraiya puff away in smoke, signaling that it was a clone. Where is the real one? Asked Tsunade as she peered through the barrier. Haim, shouted Jiraiya from a tree branch, making the females turn in his direction. Jiraiya was in his sage mode, and had a large Rasengan in his hand. Seems you didn't get that I was making a distraction to gather some nature energy, said Jiraiya with a sigh. It seems you've gotten rusty. You and that mouth of yours, growled out Tsunade. Gurren brought down the wall around them, and Jiraiya hit his forehead. Now why did you do that? Shouted Jiraiya. To attack you, you old pervert, shouted Gurren. No, now you have to deal with them, shouted Jiraiya. Suddenly, about 30 Jiraiyas with large Rasengans in their hands. Sage Art, Ultra Big Ball Rasengan Barrage. They all shouted. Gurren ran through hand signs, slamming her hands down to the ground. Shoten, Crystal Encampment Wall. She yelled as a large wall of crystal shot up from the ground. The Rasengans came into contact with the shield, and a massive explosion occurred. UGHH, moaned out Gurren in pain as she tried to keep the wall intact. Those Rasengans had some force behind them. When the explosions finally stopped, Gurren hesitantly let down the shield and dropped to the ground, taking deep breaths. Damn, That old man has some fight in him. She muttered out. Where is that pervert now? Asked Tsunade. Tsunade-sama, shouted a random ninja. Jiraiya-sama ran off. What? Which way? She yelled. That way, said the man, pointing the given direction. The three females shot off to the direction, not wanting to lose the dead, but strong, pervert. Land of Lightning. Kurama, in her full-tailed beast mode, stood battle-ready against her enemy. Along with her were Gyuki and Chomei, right beside their older sister. Karen and Fuka was standing on top of Kurama, gazing at the other Biju. Madara was standing in front of his own Biju. Shukaku, Matabi, Isabu, Son Goku, Kokuo, and Saiken. They were all controlled by Madara with a black receiver that was planted in their skin. The terrain was a mass wasteland, thanks to one of Gyuki's attacks, destroying the whole land. It served a purpose of getting rid of the forest and any obstacles in the Biju's battle. You are all strong, but I shouldn't be surprised, said Madara. The three strongest Biju, facing off against the weaker six. I'd say that this battle could go on forever. It won't, and you will release them, shouted Kurama, growling at the man that trapped her younger siblings. For you to save them, you must defeat me, but we all know that won't happen, said Madara as he phased underground. Seems we need to keep fighting, said Gyuki. To release the Biju out of his control, we need to take out those black receivers in their bodies. I can feel them implanted around their upper bodies. Closer around their necks, said Karen. Won't it be hard to get the receivers out? Asked Fuka. Yes, it will be very hard. I can feel the trap that's waiting for someone to take out the black receivers. The best way to take them out of the Biju is to somehow weaken the surrounding area of the black receiver. Fu-chan can do that with her beetles, shouted Chomei. But in order for her to do that, she must be the one out and not me. Then let Fu come back. Gyuki-chan and I can take care of things out here, Chomei-chan, said Kurama. Chomei nodded her head, and went back into her seal. When she was down, Fu was standing on top of Kurama's head, along with Karen and Fuka. All right, I'm ready, said Fu, her beetles climbing down her arms. All right, we head for Shukaku first, said Kurama as she rushed towards the sand tanuki. Shukaku, taking action, built a sand wall in front of him, blocking off Kurama's path. Kokuo came charging through, his horns pointed towards Kurama. Gyuki came to the side of Kurama and caught Kokuo's horns, avoiding the sharp points. Kurama moved around the wall of sand and blasted a large fireball at Shukaku. Isabu rolled in front of the fire blast, blocking it with his hard shell. Matabi and Son Goku both charged at Kurama, ready to deal damage to her. Chakra chains, shouted Karen and Fuka as they grabbed hold of the two large Bijus. The two were restrained and tried to fight back the golden chains of the Uzumakis. Fu covered herself in her beetles, activating her exoskeleton armor, and her beetle's wings came from her lower back. I'm going in, she shouted as flew towards Shukaku. Shukaku used his sand control to form large amounts of sand that shot towards Fu. Fu weaved her way through, dodging left and right from the dangerous, crushing sands. She was about to land on Shukaku, but had to move out the way as Saiken shot out some liquid from its mouth. Acid, muttered Fu as she watched the acid land on the ground and ate at it. A large gaping hole was left where the acid once was. Can't get hit by that. Kurama tackled Shukaku, catching him off guard. The two Biju tumbled to the ground, a large dust cloud invading the air. Kurama shot flames from her mouth down onto Shukaku right in his face, causing him to scream out. Fu, get over here, she shouted. Fu flew down to Shukaku, her armor protecting her from intense flames, and landed right where the black chakra receiver was. She placed some of her best beetles down around the rod, letting them eat at the chakra inside. All right, I've got my beetles ready. Let's go plant some more on the others, she shouted as she flew away. Kurama, seeing Fu fly off, cut off her attack and wrapped Shukaku up in her tails. She picked him up and swung him at the slowly approaching Saiken, causing them both to fall to the ground. Gyuki slapped Kokuo away with one of his tails, but was hit by Isabu who came in rolling right into Gyuki's side. Gah! He shouted as the spikes on Isabu's shell entered his body. Gyuki saw Isabu headed his way again, and before he could ram into him, he caught him with his two large hands. Open up you damn turtle! Shouted Gyuki as he lifted Isabu up, and then smashed him down into the ground. He did this repeatedly until Isabu finally uncurled himself, shaken up from Gyuki's assault. Fuka jumped on Isabu's exposed belly, still having Son Goku trapped in her chains, and ran through hand signs. Raiten, lightning rod, she shouted. A large amount of lightning rained down from the skies towards Fuka. The lightning landed on Isabu, causing him to shriek in pain. The lightning also traveled down Fuka's chakra chains, shocking Son Goku as well. Wisdom Wolf Decay, shouted the recovered Saiken. A pink gas came from Saiken's mouth and headed towards Gyuki. I need someone to blow this away. This fog is acidic, shouted Gyuki as he moved away from the spreading gas cloud. Fuyuten, wind pressure, shouted Fuka as a massive wind blast blew away the smoke cloud. When it cleared, Saiken had already shot another glob of acid that was headed Fuka's way. Kaiten, fox fire, shouted Kurama as a massive fox-headed fireball made contact with the acid. The acid exploded when it came in contact with the fire, and the force of the blast blew all the Biju in different directions. Damn it, shouted Karen as she carried away by Matabi, since her chains were still hooked around the flaming blue cat. Karen crashed into the ground, cutting up her cloths and got cut up a little. Cat claw, shouted Matabi as she broke out of the chains and dropped her claw down on Karen. Chakra chains, sphere form, shouted Karen as her chains quickly wrapped around her in a protective sphere. Matabi's claw landed on the sphere, causing it to be buried deep in the ground. Suten, stormy blockade, shouted Fuka from over Matabi. A large waterfall dropped down on Matabi, causing her to scream out. The cat's flaming blue skin was weakened by the pressurized water. Isabu rushed over to Fuka's falling form, wanting to crush her underneath his shell. Fuka quickly ran through hand signs, not wanting to crush underneath the giant turtle. Fuyuten, flower scattering dance. She shouted as flower petals spun around together, causing a massive tornado. The tornado crashed in front of Isabu, breaking up the land. Isabu stumbled and was caught into the cracks in the earth. Fu flew over to Shukaku and landed on his neck area. She saw her beetles finishing up on the black rod, and all that they needed to do now was pull it out. Got you now, shouted Fu as she grabbed hold of the black rod and started to pull. Chains appeared from the rod and tried to hold Fu down, but her beetles quickly took care of them, eating right through the chakra that powered them. Fu stopped her foot in the ground and kept pulling, trying to get the chakra receiver out. Come on, budge, she shouted in anger. She made 2 blue lances from her exoskeleton armor and stabbed down into Shukaku, giving Fu more of a grip on the sandy monster. Sand started to cover up around Fu, but she was protected by her armor. When she felt the black rod weaken a little, she gained a guilt in her eyes. Come out, she yelled as she finally pulled out the black rod. Shukaku's eyes gained back its light as he looked around. I can move on my own now. Free baby. The raccoon is back, shouted Shukaku in victory. Good. Now come and help us, shouted Kurama as she faced off against Kokuo. We need to end this soon. Yeah, grumbled Shukaku. Isabu crashed into Shukaku, making him fall down on his butt. He got back up with steam coming from his ears. I'm gonna get ya, now, he shouted as a dome of sand covered up Isabu. 1 down, 5 more to go, said Gyuki as he started to charge up a Biju bomb. Medical Corps. The Gokage were fully healed, getting the best treatment from the medic Nin, and were now planning their next attack. Most of the battlefields are removed of any enemies. Only a few white Zetsu remain here and there, but nothing a shinobi can't handle, said as he was flexing his muscles. Most of the divisions are heading their way towards central Kumo, with the Bijou battling, said Mei, reading the report they were given. We still haven't found the location of Kabuto. I believe that is top priority now, said Unoki, stroking his beard. True, but if we have sealed up most of his warriors, then he isn't as big as a threat now. The only ones that remain are Orochimaru, Jiraiya-sama, and Madara Uchiha, said Gaara. We'll leave Madara to Naruto. He can handle him, said Minato. It is said that Orochimaru and Jiraiya are headed towards central Kumo now, so it seems that that is the place where the enemy will make his last move, said Minato. So what are your orders? Asked Mei, looking up at Minato curiously. We all go to central Kumo and take care of the main cause of the war. The masked man can't hide for long, said a determined Minato. Land of Lightning. Naruto and Madara clashed as they met in the middle of their battlefield. Madara brought out his gunbai and Naruto had his side in hand. You are good. Very good, shouted Madara with a smile. Naruto just giggled as he spun around Madara and kicked him in his back. Madara was blasted back, his complete Susanoo moving with him. Ribi appeared from the ground and closed its mouth around the Susanoo's legs. Delicious, shouted Ribi as he drained the chakra from the Susanoo. To counter against the chakra crazy leech, Susanoo slashed the leech in half with its blade. Ribi was cut in half and fell to the ground. Madara's eyes widened when he saw the cut half gained a head just like the originals. Red ringed eyes and sharp pointed teeth. The same cartoonish look. There's no stopping us, said Naruto as he appeared behind Madara, a black ball of chakra with 2 rings around it. We're invincible. Super revival fist, shouted Naruto as he pushed the black ball of chakra into Susanoo's armor. The attack broke right through and headed towards Madara. Madara circled around Naruto and kneed him in his stomach. He didn't see Naruto's devious smirk as he started to glow. The real Naruto high in sky watched as his clone blew up in the center of the battlefield, destroying anything in its way. Naruto landed on the ground, and the 2 individual Raibis crawled towards him. Set up a perimeter. I'm using that jutsu, said Naruto. The 2 nodded and burrowed underground. Madara shot towards Naruto with his gunbai in hand. He brought it over his head and slammed down to Naruto. Naruto blocked with the handle of his scythe, before using his tails to slap Madara away. Madara landed on the ground and flashed his M's towards Naruto. Amaterasu. Naruto covered himself in yokai and in a burst of speed, he disappeared. Madara's black flames burned through nothing but the air that was where Naruto once was. Damn it, said Madara. Naruto appeared next to Madara, but was met with more black flames, which he dodged again. Over and over again, Madara shot flames at Naruto while he dodged them all. You are no fun at all, said Naruto as he landed behind a rock, obstructing Madara's view of his form. Using such deadly flames to end the battle. Are you really a Uchiha? Laughed out Naruto. Be quiet, you deranged demon. I'll soon defeat you and continue with my plans, said Madara as his Susanoo drew 4 blades, 1 for each arm. You won't be able to defeat me. Especially if you can't see me, said Naruto. Naruto ran through hand signs and slammed his hands on the ground. Kaiten, fox trap. Madara wasn't sensing anything, but suddenly, a very large fox head made of flames erupted from the ground, its jaw open wide. It bit down on Susanoo, taking in its whole body. Naruto charged up a Rasengan and added his wind chakra into it, making it look like a large shuriken. Fuyuten, Raisen Shuriken. He yelled as he threw the deadly shuriken into the flaming fox head. When it made contact and large explosion overtook the area, flames rising all the way up to the clouds. He. That did wonders, said the crazy Naruto as he watched his own form of a nuclear bomb destroy the already destroyed area even more. His smirk widened when he saw Madara shoot out of the dust cloud and in the air. You are getting on my nerves now. I can't stay here forever. I need to end this now, said Madara while glaring down at the smirking Naruto. Well, that won't happen, shouted Naruto as red and black chakra surrounded him, a fox forming from the chakra around him. Its eyes gleamed at Madara and roared, and a massive shockwave pushed Madara back some. Black chakra started to gather around the head of the chakra beast, and Naruto had his hands placed upwards towards the mouth of the beast. The Biju bomb, said Madara as he looked down at Naruto. I didn't think that you could use that move while in your human-like state. I only seen it done by the other Biju in their Biju forms, but this is new to me. Oh, it only gets better, said Naruto with a wide smile, creeping Madara out. What was wrong with this child? This demon fox. This is the first time where Madara felt fear for another enemy, other than Hashirama. Ribi, shouted Naruto. Do it. Black chakra burst from the ground, entrapping both Madara and Naruto in a circle of chakra that reached the skies. Madara looked at the wall that trapped him and sent a Kaiten jutsu towards it, only to see nothing happen. So you plan to trap me in here? This wall won't stay up for long, he said as he crossed his arms, his Susanoo doing the same. Oh, this wall is doing more than just holding you in, said Naruto as a trail of sweat ran down his face. This next move would take a lot of concentration. Well, get to it, said Madara, not worried at all. Kitsune's secret art. True darkness, said Naruto. After that, everything went black. Madara looked around him and couldn't see anything. He couldn't see his own two hands right in front of him. Kaiten, great fire annihilation, said Madara as flames spewed from his mouth, but he couldn't see the flames at all. He could feel the heat of his technique, but no light was produced. So that is the main purpose of this barrier, said Madara as he cut his flames, to block all light. An area of true darkness. Biju bomb, Naruto's voice shouted. Madara looked around frantically, trying to spot the move, but couldn't see at all. He felt a presence coming closer to him, and he flew up using his Susanoo. He then heard a large explosion from behind him, proving he dodged the attack. How did he know that I was there, thought Madara as he looked back at nothing. Kitsune have special eyes. Naruto's voice echoed through the dark space. We are nocturnal. We hunt at night, and see through the dark that hides us from our prey. It is the same case for you. Madara was hit in his side and felt his chakra drop insanely, but it was restored instantly. He heard an creepy laugh, and swore he could feel some type of slimy skin. So that leech of his can also see in this dark. He is using this barrier to his advantage. I have to do something about it, thought Madara as he started to fly around. He was shooting attack left and right, trying to hit the unseen barrier. Soon, he crashed into a wall, signaling that he reached the end. All right, said Madara as he dropped to the ground, running through hand signs. When he landed on the ground, he planted his hands on the ground. Mokuton, advent of a world of flowering trees. He yelled. Trees quickly grew from the ground and quickly filled up the area. I'll just flood the area of trees, covering this space up to bottom of chakra-absorbing trees. I'll be alerted of his presence at all times, while draining the chakra out of the barrier. Expertly thought Madara as he felt his plan working. He felt chakra enter his trees from the barrier, and felt Naruto's chakrasam before it disappeared again, trying to stay away from the trees. Now this is exciting, shouted Naruto as he flew in the air. He saw that the tree's height kept growing, and it was reaching the top of the barrier. Naruto smirked as he figured out Madara's plot. It won't be enough, shouted Naruto as he took a U-turn and flew downwards, coating himself in chakra. He started to spin and put both of his clawed hands in front of him. Spinning fox slash. Naruto cut right through the thick trees like they were butter. Granted he did have some of his chakra absorbed, but it was all worth the excitement he was feeling. Naruto landed on the ground and saw Ribi in its original state, his both halves joining together again and become one. Do it, said Naruto as he put his hand into Ribi, his hand sinking into his skin, not hurting him at all. Ribi shrieked and dark hands started to come out his body. Shadow arms. Ribi shouted with his crazy grin as arms of darkness grew from his skin and shot forward, grabbing a hold of the forest around him. Madara fell down when he felt his chakra drop by an enormous amount. He felt that all his chakra was being drained by one point in his forest. That damn leech, shouted a now very angry Madara. That leech was ruining his plans of ending this battle. He had to go find Obito. And quickly. Wood clone technique, said Madara as he made 10 clones all made of wood. They all ran through hand signs and readied themselves. Kaiten, great fire annihilation, yelled all the Madaras as fire blasted through the forest, burning it to a crisp. The searing temperatures of the massive fireball was making even the dead Madara sweat, but it was all worth it to get rid of his stubborn opponent. Naruto's eyes widened when he saw the fire come his way. Madara must really have wanted to kill him to go to these measures of destroying his own forest to get to him. Wrap around me, Ribi, said Naruto, in which the large leech replied by wrapping its slimy skin around Naruto in a protective manner. Naruto ran through hand signs himself and slammed his hands and tails on the ground. 9-tailed confinement seal, said Naruto as he made a red barrier around him and Ribi, protecting them from the hell outside of it. Naruto's veins were bulging from his head as he kept the barrier up. It was really hard to block an attack that had the temperature around him at such a level. The ground outside the barrier was melting and turning into lava. Ribi whined at Naruto's stressed out face, and sent some of his dark chakra into Naruto, giving him strength. Naruto successfully protected the two of the flames when finally stopped, making Naruto sigh in relief. I think we got him, said one of the Madara clones, after not hearing anything from in the barrier for a couple of minutes. No, it can't be. This barrier is still up, meaning that he survived, said another clone. Nine-tailed confinement seal, said a voice from within the darkness. Expand. All of the clones, along with the real Madara, was slammed against the black barrier as they felt something pushed against them, trapping them between a rock-hard place. Spike, said Naruto's voice, and spikes started to form on the wall. The spikes entered the many Madaras and the clones dispelled. The real Madara was stuck, not being able to move an inch. Circle, commanded Naruto. The seal circled around Madara's body, trapping him in tight sphere. The black barrier was dispelled, and the light shone down on Madara, hurting his eyes. Ugh, damn it, said Madara as he rubbed his eyes. He looked up a little and saw black eyes looking down upon him, along with red-ringed eyes from the demonic leech that was over Naruto. You lose, said Naruto as he looked at Madara. Seal. A red light shone around Madara until his sphere turned into a small cube, sealing Madara inside it. Smoke was emitting from the cube as it took a massive amount of chakra to seal up such a powerful person. Naruto sighed as he picked up the small cube and put it in one of his pockets on his cargo pants. His eyes shifted from black to crimson, his slit returning in his eyes. That was a long battle, said Naruto as he rubbed Ribi's head, earning a wide, wicked, toothy smile to appear on the mutated leech. We need to go help out the others. Shall we head out now? Asked Ribi. Not yet. Let me take a small break, and then we leave out, said Naruto as he leaned back on Ribi. Central Kumo. Kurama blew out a small stream of fire as she saw Fu take out another black rod from one of her younger siblings, Matabi. So far, they had Shukaku, Son Goku, Kokuo, and the now newly awakened Matabi. Thanks, Kurama-ne, said Matabi as she took in a deep breath of air. I thought I'd be like that forever. Don't worry, you're free now, said Kurama as she took in a deep breath. She looked at Yuki, Fu, Karen, and Fuka to see that they were all tired out their minds. Sweat took over their bodies as they looked up at their last two enemies, Saiken and Isabu. These two will be the hardest to free, said Karen as she glanced upwards at the giants. The slug can secret acid from any part of its body, while the turtle can curl up in a ball and hid its rod beneath that hard shell of his. Yeah, but I, the great monkey, Son Goku, can free them both, shouted Son as he beat his chest with his fist, acting like the ape his is. Madara, or Obito, was looking at the scene with anger in his eyes. This wasn't going according to his plans. They were supposed to fight, giving him some entertainment, but they weren't supposed to be winning. Time to take this to another level, thought Madara as he flashed through hand signs and slammed his palm against the ground. A large puff of smoke appeared from the ground, and what appeared was the demonic statue of the outer path, in all its weird-ass glory. It opened its mouth and golden chains wrapped around Saiken and Isabu, taking them inside him. No, shouted Kokuo as he watched his younger and older brother get sucked inside the statue. He was about to ram into the statue in retaliation, but Kurama trapped him with her tails. Wait, Kokuo-chan. We can't go barging in now. We have to play this smart, she said as she looked at the large statue. What shall we do? Asked Matabi. Easy. We kill that son of a bitch, shouted Shukaku as sand gathered around him. Not that simple, said Kurama. Oh, it won't be simple at all, said Obito with a smirk from beneath his mask. The statue started to run towards the Biju, making them get into a defensive stance. The statue ran up to Son Goku, throwing a punch at him. Son caught both and opened up his mouth. Monkey flame arson, shouted Son as green flames shot from his mouth and hit the statue. The statue ignored the flames and kicked Son away. It opened its mouth and chains came from it and wrapped themselves around Son. Stop him, shouted Kurama as she ran up to the statue, ramming into its side. Came from the other side of the statue, but the statue recovered quickly from Kurama's attack and grabbed Kokuo's head. The chains reeled Son Goku into its mouth, absorbing the Monkey King. Chains wrapped around the statue as Fuka and Karen used their combined efforts into holding it down. The statue brushed off their attempts at stopping it and continued to run towards Shukaku, dragging Karen and Fuka along with it. Shukaku made a wall of sand in front of him, stopping the statue in its tracks. When Shukaku brought the sand shield, he was releasing a fully charged Biju bomb at the statue, which hit it dead in its stomach. Good job, shouted Kurama as she got out of the blast range. She was, but saw Karen and Fuka almost get taken inside. She quickly turned around and used her tails to grab them and pull them away. She took some of the explosion to her side, causing her to hiss in pain. You all right? Asked Fu as she floated next to Kurama. I'm fine, said Kurama as she shook off the pain. She had other problems to deal with than a little pain. Now for the next one, said Madara as his Sharingan spun in his eyes. The statue turned its sights on Fu. Fu saw this and quickly flew off, away from the statue. The statue started to chase down Fu. Kurama, Shukaku, Matabi, and Kokuo were trying to stop the Biju eater. Fu shot into the air, flying upwards. She knew that she would be safe if she flew at high altitudes. She couldn't go up too high, though. There was a limit to how high her beetles could go up. Think you can get away, said an amused Madara. The state squatted down, before shooting up in the air, surprising all of the Biju that tried to stop it. Fu came face to face with a large, living, demonic statue in the air with her. The statue knelt forward, and closed its mouth around Fu, swallowing her. Fu-chan, shouted Kurama as she watched in sadness as the statue ate Fu, taking Chome with her. Damn you, shouted Kurama as she charged up her Biju bomb. Yuki, Kokuo, Matabi, and Shukaku joining her. They all formed one massive black sphere that was ready to be launched. When the demonic statue landed on the ground, they all shouted, Biju bomb, and blasted the overpowered black sphere towards the statue. They all watched in anticipation as the large sphere headed towards the statue. Obito watched with amusement as the statue twirled around and kicked the black sphere back at the Biju. You can't win now, said Obito as he watched the bomb explode, the Biju disappearing in the blast range. Fuka and Karen were thrown to the ground by Kurama away from the blast. They both watched in sadness as the Biju were attacked with their own technique, the yells filling the air. This isn't happening, shouted Fuka as she pulled at her hair, something rare for her to do. We have to do something. I know, but we have no more chakra, said Karen in sadness. She turned around when she felt 2 chakra signatures approaching. She started to shake when she recognized one of them. What's wrong, Ken-san? Asked Fuka as she looked at the shaking Uzumaki. Oro, Oro Oro, Orochimaru. She yelled in fear as she saw the pale man land in front of her. He looked up to her and smirked. Another traitor to get rid of, he said as he stood up fully. Fuka started to shake as well, knowing good and well how bad the situation they were in. Oro team, is that you? Asked Jiraiya as he looked at the pale man. So you were also brought back, that also means that you were killed. How? Asked Orochimaru as he looked at the perverted sage. Ah, you remember those kids I adopted a while ago, and Naruto, that should be enough said. Said Jiraiya as he rubbed his head sheepishly. Trust me, I know about Naruto-kun and his strength. His subordinates are the ones that killed me, said Orochimaru as he looked at Fuka and Karen. Seems as if I can get my revenge today. Both Orochimaru and Jiraiya dodged out the way as Tsunade landed where they once were, Konan and Gurren right behind her. Damn it, you run fast you old toad, said Tsunade as she glared at Jiraiya. She turned her head to see Orochimaru and her eyes widen. Orochimaru, you were brought back too. Ah, the princess. I didn't think I'll be seeing you here, he said with a cocky smirk. That's too bad, for I'll have to kill you here if you try to protect those two. Anyone that is an ally of Naruto is an enemy of mine. A large purple figure landed in the area and Sasuke and Sakura were inside Susanoo. That damn snake is fast, said Sasuke as he glared at the man. Oh, you followed me. How nice, said Orochimaru. The ground started to shake and more ninja started to appear to the battlefield. Soon, most of the shinobi alliances was there. I can't believe it, said Obito as he looked at all the ninja present. He was surprised to see them all here, which also means that all of the undead ninja must have been sealed up. But Obito wasn't scared. No, he was far from it. I can't believe that Snake Bastard actually called that this would happen. That means if he holds up his part of the plan, we'll win. Look what we have here, shouted Jiraiya. Everyone is actually helping each other. How nice. Jiraiya-sama, shouted Kakashi. I'm sorry, but we will seal you up. Oh, no worries, Kaka. Jiraiya suddenly stopped talking and lost the happiness in his eyes. Orochimaru looked at the man weirdly. What happened to you? To stop talking to suddenly isn't you, said Orochimaru. The silent Jiraiya started to run through hand signs and slammed his hands on the ground. Edo, Tensei, said Jiraiya in a dead voice. 3 coffins appeared from the ground and they slowly opened up. Everyone's eyes widened when they saw the first and second Hokage step from the wooden coffins. Hashirama stepped up and ran no hand signs. Green tattoos appeared on his face, signaling that he was in Sage mode. Sage Art Mokuton, true several thousand hands. He yelled as the ground erupted and a massive wooden structure appeared in the sky, towering even beyond the Biju. Everyone looked up at the godlike statue. Hashirama stood on top of the statue, a blank look on his face. This can't be, said Tsunade as she looked up at the statue. Only Madara Uchiha could face off against this, and even then, he lost against Hashirama. How can we win? Asked Konan as she and the small amount of wave ninja compared to the rest of the army, looked up at the structure. Kurama looked on at the wooden structure in fear. The statue blocked any escape, and the demonic statue was staring him down, desperately wanting to absorb the Biju. What are we going to do? Muttered Kurama. Obito was looking at the scene with a big smile under his mask. This couldn't go any better. Seeing everyone's helpless face, seeing what real power was. It made him feel good that he could change the course of the whole war with just a couple dead bodies. I have to give it to you, Kabuto, you were right. When everyone seals up the bodies, they would come to the only battlefield where they haven't won yet. Everyone would. When they are here, summon the most strongest ninja ever, along with another Hokage. He said as he shook his head. It's almost time. Go, shouted Obito, and the demonic statue charged towards the weakened Biju. Mountain Graveyard. Anko was sweating as she looked over towards Kabuto, who stood across from her smirking. His shirt was off and the snake that was once connected to his belly transformed into Kimimaro and bones were coming from his bones. You weird ass man. What fucker put someone else's DNA in them to gain their abilities? Shouted Anko as she held onto the Kusanagi. I'm doing what Orochimaru-sama wished to do. To master all the jutsu in the world. To discover the secrets of nature. You wouldn't understand a thing. Shouted Kabuto. Fuck, this is going on for too long, thought Anko. I need to end this. And fast. You have some of Orochimaru-sama power within you. I know you removed the curse mark, probably by Naruto, but you have the power of the Hebi, something I want. You disgrace Orochimaru-sama by using his techniques. Yelled Kabuto. Like I care about him. Huffed out Anko. All I'm worried about is ending you, and helping the war effort. You're low on chakra, it's not a secret. I can sense it, said Kabuto with a smirk. However, in my Sage mode, I have an infinite supply of energy. You won't win. I'm stronger than you. Faster. A large variety of jutsu that I have at my disposal. The only edge you have on me is that sword. Yelled an now angry Kabuto. Yeah, you're right. I know you're stronger than me, but I have my ace, said Anko as she ran through hand signs. Oh, and what is that? Asked Kabuto with a smirk. I'm unpredictable, said Anko as she took in a deep breath. Kaiten, Great Blaze Ball. She shouted. A massive, meteor-sized sphere of fire raced towards him. The meteor was so large, it ripped through the ceiling of the cave. Kabuto felt the heat of the attack even from the distance he was from Anko. What? Shouted Kabuto with wide eyes. He never seen anything like this. This would even kill him, even under the effects of his hydrification technique. Kabuto jumped out the way of the quickly approaching meteor, saving his life. He hissed when he felt a searing on his arm. He looked down to his arm, only to see he didn't have one. No, yelled Kabuto as he looked at his burnt arm. He couldn't regrow it because the high temperatures quickly evaporated his arm. You bitch, shouted Kabuto as he ran to Anko. Anko smirked and ran towards Kabuto, her sword right behind her. Many hidden shadow snakes, yelled Kabuto as snakes came from his arm in a large portion. Anko sliced through them all easily. Anko looked up to see Kabuto right in front of her. He grabbed her throat and lifted her up, his snake wrapping itself around her. You will regret that, yelled an enraged Kabuto as he took Anko's sword from her. Anko, in a panicked state, kicked up at Kabuto, but moved his head to the side, dodging her attack. Die, yelled Kabuto as he brought down Kusanagi, but Anko brought out a kunai and blocked the sword. Kabuto looked at what was attached to the kunai and saw a long line of explosive notes with smoke emitting from them. You wouldn't, growled out Kabuto. Anko opened her mouth and snakes came from it and wrapped themselves around Kabuto. Oh, I would, she said as the explosive notes went off. The cave was destroyed from the inside as the bombs destroyed everything within range. Rocks were blasted in all directions, the force of the blast being too much for the rocks. The cave was now a large crater, never to recover from the attack. Kabuto groaned as he pushed a rock off of him. At the last moment before the blast went off, he made a weak, small amount of water cover him. He still took an enormous amount of damage, but that can be healed. It doesn't matter. I won. I need to get back on focusing on my army, said Kabuto to himself, referring to his undead army of powerful ninjas. Kabuto started to limp away, wanting to get away from the area. A sword came from the ground in front of Kabuto and pierced his stomach and extended to a large rock behind him where it was planted. The ground was lifted up as Anko's head came from the ground, her neck longer than it usually was. You're still alive, said Kabuto as he was forced out of his sage mode. He coughed a little and blood dribbled down his mouth. Yeah, I told you I was unpredictable, said Anko as the rest of her body came from the ground. Her neck shrunk down back to its regular size, and she took the kusangi from her mouth, holding it in her hand. But, how? Asked Kabuto as he coughed again. Shadow clone. You should learn it someday, said Anko with a grin. Kabuto growled again but coughed again, more blood come out. Suddenly, Yakumo landed next to Anko. You finished here? She asked to Anko. Yup. Sigh, finally, said Anko. You had help all this time, said Kabuto to Anko. Yeah, but I wanted to fight you alone. I wanted to prove that I didn't have to be like Orochimaru team to be as good as a ninja like him, said Anko. Yakumo stepped up to Kabuto and ran through hand signs. Time to die, but first, she said as she placed Kabuto in a genjutsu. How do we stop the Edo Tensei? Central Kumo. Kurama took in deep breaths as she looked at her opponents. The demonic statue had 8 of its eyes open, signaling that it had 8 Biju trapped inside of it. The statue was just as strong and fell to the power of it one by one. And with Hashirama, Tobirama, and Madara helping the statue, she knew it wouldn't be long until she was caught as well. The ninja of the first ninja alliances were all fighting, and failing, in fighting against the behemoth that Hashirama made. A technique used to fight Bijus and Madara Uchiha, used against regular shinobi, 100% chance of failure. Sasuke and Sakura were battling against Orochimaru, while Konan, Gurren, and Tsunade were continuing the battle with Jiraiya. They were getting close to winning, they just need the right time and opportunity to seal them up. Time to give up, Kyubi, said Madara from atop the demonic statue's head. You lose. Kurama only knelt her head down. They had her beat. She was cut up by Hashirama's Mokuton, and most of her attacks were repelled by Tobirama's mastery of the Hara-Ishin, teleporting her attacks into a different area, or back at her. Damn, I can't win, muttered Kurama as she fell to the ground. Madara smirked, seeing her give up was a sight to remember. Let's wrap this up, said Obito as the statue opened its mouth and golden chains shot out. Kurama helplessly watched as the chains came closer to her. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun, were her thoughts as the chains wrapped around her body. She was about to be dragged inside the moving statue, but a large, black-purplish leech came from the ground. FFFOOODD. It yelled as it opened its mouth, filled with razor-sharp, ragged teeth. It latched onto the chains and absorbed the chakra from them, making them go slack. Ribi, muttered Kurama. She looked at the growing leech. What are you doing here? The ground started to shake as a massive, red fox with 9 long blonde lines of fur started on its forehead and to each individual tail jumped over the shinobi force, past Hashirama, and tackled the statue down. Get away from her. The enraged Naruto shouted as he blasted the statue with fire, causing it to scream out. Naruto jumped off it and walked up to the very injured Kurama. Kurama-chan. I'm here, he muttered Naruto as he nuzzled against her head. Nice to see you alive, she said weakly. I don't know if we can win this one. We can, said Naruto as he tried to encourage her. Naruto-kun, Fu's dead, Kurama said hesitantly. Naruto's eyes widened when he heard this. What? He said as he looked down at her. Kurama turned her head, avoiding eye contact with him as she kept talking. The statue. To the rest of Chome-chan's chakra, it ate her, she said as tears ran down her eyes. It got her, and not too long ago. It absorbed Gyuki. B's body is somewhere around here. black and red chakra as his anger rose to new heights. Everyone turned to him when they saw the sight of what was close to the devil mad. I'll kill him, muttered Naruto as a red light covered him. He reverted back to his human form, but his chakra was still in the shape as his Biju form, just as tall as Kurama. You won't survive, I assure you, said Naruto as he looked towards Obito, who was smirking underneath his mask. I won't survive. You sound so confident, like you are actually a threat. I have the most powerful weapons on my side, what do you have? An overly large injured fox. You are nothing. Suddenly, white lights ran down from the sky and hit Orochimaru, Jiraiya, Hashirama, and Tobirama. It seems like Anko-san and Yakumo-san did it, muttered Kurama as she looked up at the sky. Oh, looks like it's time for me to go, Haim, said Jiraiya as he looked at Tsunade. I'll see you soon though, since you are going to die of your old age. Ha ha, he laughed. Tsunade just sighed as she saw her best friend's soul return to the heavenly planes. I don't wish to leave, said Orochimaru as he ran through hand signs. The white light disappeared around Orochimaru, leaving a smirking Snake Sannin. Are you still here? Shouted Tsunade. Users of the Edo Tensei, such as myself, know that if you are revived by the technique, but are forced to return to the afterlife, can use the secret combination of hand signs to stay on Earth with my immortal body. Said Orochimaru. You still have to deal with me. The light flashed on Hashirama and his soul was lifted away from his corpse. It was about to be the same way for Tobirama, but he ran through his same hand signs, saving himself. Finally, I have control of myself, said Tobirama as he looked down at his hands. This body, it's cold, but I have control now. A white light flashed down to Naruto's pocket. Naruto went through his pocket to see the crimson cube that Madara was trapped in. You wish to return to hell? Fine, said Naruto as he threw down the cube. The cube started to shake, gaining Naruto's attention. Black cracks appeared around the cube, until it exploded. Madara appeared from the smoke, smirking at Naruto. Guess who's back? He said. How are you still here? Growled out Naruto as he looked at the Uchiha. I knew of the way to keep my soul inside this body. The white light broke through that prison you made for me, which I am grateful for. I was really trapped inside, but I'm back. He shouted with a creepy smirk. He jumped back to Obito, who was standing on the demonic statue of the outer path. Seems our plans were messed up a little, said Madara as he landed next to Obito. Obito sighed as he took off his mask, revealing his face to the world. Yeah, but it's going better than we imagined. Obito-san, asked Minato, with the newly arrived Gokage. Is that you? Yes. Back from the grave to haunt your dreams, said Obito as he looked down at Minato. I can't believe you couldn't figure it out. I guess doing all that paperwork made you go senile, he said with a smirk. Obito turned his head to Orochimaru, now interested in him. Tell me, whose side are you on? Asked Obito with a Sharingan and Rinnegan enhanced glare. Well, said Orochimaru as he looked at the allied shinobi force. They are trying to seal me up, so I guess I'm on your side, said Orochimaru. Here's proof, said Orochimaru as he ran through hand signs. Summoning. A coffin appeared from the ground, and in front him was Hashirama Senju. Not again, shouted an aggravated Sugetsu. If I need to remind you how I have him, it's the same body I used when I attacked Konoha 3 years ago, said Orochimaru with a smirk as Hashirama opened his blank eyes again. He slammed his hand to the ground and the same large wooden structure appeared, towering over everything. Naruto-kun, muttered Kurama as she reverted back to her human form. She was laying on the ground, not being able to move. We can't win. Naruto didn't even look back at her. I'm sorry, said Naruto as red chains came from his back and wrapped around Kurama's body. Her eyes widened when he threw her away from the battlefield. What are you doing? She yelled. Jugo flew up and caught her, lowering her safely to the ground. Making things right, he said as he ran through hand signs. He slammed his hands on the ground and shouted, Nine-tailed confinement seal. And red light shone around the battlefield, circling around Hashirama, Tobirama, Orochimaru, Madara and Obito, and the demonic statue. Kurama's eyes widened when she saw the red circle on the ground and shouted out to Naruto, No. Stop. You'll die. I won't, said Naruto as he paid attention to his opponents. Menma and Mito were one of the few people that were close to the red light that was flashing on the ground. He plans to trap himself in along with the Akatsuki, said Mito, remembering how this seal worked. He can't face them all alone, can he? Said Menma, knowing the answer to his question. Sure. Naruto was strong, but he wasn't strong enough to handle some of the strongest ninja in history by himself. We need to help, said Mito as she looked at her brother. We owe him that much. Menma looked at her sister before nodding his head. They both stepped over the line and ran up to Naruto. Sasuke was looking at Naruto's back, seeing his tails move in the wind. He knew that Naruto wouldn't be able to win. He looked down to Sakura to see a frightened look on her face. You know, don't you? Said Sasuke as he looked down at Sakura. He won't win, yet he still tries, she silently cried. It shouldn't be like this. Do you wish to help him? Asked Sasuke. Sakura looked up at Sasuke with determined eyes. She wiped her eyes and nodded up to Sasuke. Sasuke nodded back to Sakura and grabbed her hand. Together, they stepped over the red line before it shot up in the air, sealing in anything inside its walls. No! Yelled Kurama as she tried to run up to the wall, but the wave ninja stopped her. Please stop, Kurama-sama! Shouted Haku. It's in Naruto-sama's hands now. But he'll lose. She yelled as tears streamed down her face. He won't win. He'll. Her eyes trailed to Naruto's form that was far away from her. He'll die. Naruto looked at his enemies with hatred. They killed Fu. They even killed B. Even though Naruto didn't know B for a long time, he was still a Jinchuriki that didn't deserve to die. Naruto put on his claws and got into his taijutsu stance, the merciless fox. I will kill all of you, even if I need to sacrifice myself. Sacrifice yourself? Asked an amused Obito. Look at who you are protecting, Naruto-san. Those people beyond that border are people that fear and hate you. Since you were born, you were treated like a demon. Why fight for those that will only stab you in the back? Asked Obito as he raised up his arm and pointed to Naruto. You hate them and you know it. You wish to be free of this corrupted world. You can do something about it. Join me. If you do, you will have peace with yourself. Naruto stared at the man with his crimson orbs. He saw Wicked right beside Obito, interested in what he was about to say. Naruto took in a deep breath and glared at Obito. I'm not fighting for them, but for Wave. I have people who love me now, and I'll be at peace when I kill you and have your blood covering my claws, said a determined Naruto as his eyes glowed dangerously. 4 chakra signatures landed next to Naruto and he looked to his right. Sasuke and Sakura were beside him, ready to fight. Sasuke-san. Sakura-san. What are? We are not letting you die, said Sasuke as he activated his Ms. You are my best friend. I can't let you die, unless I'm there dying right beside you. We're with you until the end, said Sakura as she gripped her gloves. Naruto turned to his left and looked at Menma and Mito. And you too? He asked. We owe you for everything we've done to you, said Mito, unsealing her sword. Just count this as payment. Yeah, and we did tell you that we were going to show you how strong we've gotten since we last met, said Menma with a smirk. Naruto shook his head with a small smile. He looked behind him to see Tobirama land on the ground. I know all about the purpose of the war, hearing about it while battling the shinobi and when that Kabuto boy brought me back. I'll fight with you, just don't do anything stupid, said Tobirama with his arms crossed. No promises, said Naruto as his chakra expanded to the 5 and adding it to their chakra reserves, giving them unbelievable strength. Are you ready to lose? Asked Obito as he looked down upon the group. I only win. You all shall lose today, said Naruto. He looked up at the full moon, see a silhouette of the same woman he has been seeing for the past couple years before she disappeared. Time to fight, yelled Ribi as he came from the ground, towering over Naruto and his allies. Time to win, said Naruto as he and the group charged forward. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.